Right, hey guys, welcome to our new pod. We are joined today with Mel and Ono, who are also helping me out along with trying to portray our interest in F1. I don't know how else to start this stuff. It's really interesting starting the pod off because you're always confused about how to start it and be like, oh, well, it's just normal conversation. We don't know what else to talk about. But yeah,
we don't
welcome.
need intro, we'll just start chatting.
Yeah. welcome everybody anyway to our new pod. We're going to be talking everything F1. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy what we have to say about everything really. We're going to try and do our best in making it somewhat entertaining during our conversations, but you never know.
True. Hey, that was so funny.
Oh my god. All right, okay. I'm already off to find it. No, I'm joking. Right, anyway, to start off with, we're going to be just talking about the race we all missed. We're one race late. Oh god.
Try again. One more time.
One. When one.
Always rewind.
That meme where was it Montoya, that guy that was trying to interview him, was like, when one race.
I was watching that the other day.
So we're just gonna have a brief conversation about the previous race that we missed. That being the Bahrain GP. Essentially, I'm just gonna start off with Merc haven't made the comeback that we all think everybody was thinking that they were gonna do. That wasn't the best time for Merc fans, I think.
No, I think everyone just presumed that they were sandbagging, and then we got to the first race, we were like, oh.
Yeah.
Even the first race, I thought, nah, they're faking this. They're still faking.
Yeah.
Still fake. They're just trying to have us off, but no.
It feels like they've gone to complete opposite end of the scale, and you're kind of like, what happened?
Yeah, because even during that whole weekend, everybody, the fans were all just saying, like, oh, okay, yeah, eventually they'll sort it out, they'll be quick. And then it came to the race, they were massively off the pace, even like touching towards where Haas was and Alfa Romeo. They were both looking quick, and everybody was just really shocked at the fact that either this porpoising effect that is really affecting the cars, especially Merc, has had a massive impact in their performance, or essentially they haven't quite got it on as where Red Bull and Ferrari have. So it's kind of
Yeah. I mean, we're still really early in, so they have time.
Yeah.
So maybe over these 2 weeks before Oz, they've changed something, but it was shocking to see. That's for sure.
What do you think about Red Bull being the fastest car?
Are they though?
In Bahrain, they were.
You could debate Ferrari are at the minute.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I think they're in contention for constructors already.
What, Ferrari?
Yeah.
Every Leclerc fan says just gone, what? Ferrari winning the world champion?
Yeah. Like even towards the end of last year, like they've come into this year all guns blazing. Whatever they've done over Christmas, don't know what they've been eating or whatever, but but they've just gone mental and they've created a bloody good car because they've now gone from like midfield fighting McLaren to come with the Red Bulls, like.
Yeah, no one was really talking about Ferrari at all. It was like Mercedes and Red Bull again. Oh, what's gonna happen? And then Ferrari quietly just been getting along with their own little business, sorting the car out, and has delivered an absolute beauty already. Like, this season's gonna be mad.
They've got a good driver pairing as well, so.
Yeah, easily one of the strongest driver pairing. Easily.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when that car first came out for launch as well. Like when they hollowed out the side pods, I thought there is no way that car looks like but it seems like the aerodynamics of that car is on rails. The thing was on rails in Bahrain. Yeah.
It is new.
That's as well, with the whole season being new, the aero is new, all the aero is new, the car's brand new. We never really knew what we was going to expect coming out of testing / going into Bahrain. So having this refreshing new era that we have, it's interesting to see during that Bahrain Grand Prix that the cars are now following a lot closer. There is more closer racing in terms of being able to stay behind the car in front, which is definitely
already, like,
providing
you've
us.
seen, like, some of the moves already people have done on the track. You're thinking, what? Couldn't have done that last year because the cars were just so wide, and now they're just so much smaller. They're making, like, these more risky moves, and you're like, this is racing. This is what we like.
What do you think about Bottas?
He settled into Alfa Romeo like that so quickly.
I mean,
He seems happier.
Traditions. Traditions.
Do you see that one TikTok where he walks up with the coffee cup and he goes to fist bump whoever's like recording, which he did at Merck, but then he had to change his hand around. It's just he seems a lot happier there. Obviously, there's still pressure being an F1 driver, but there's considerably a lot less.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I think more is where Joe's new into F1. It's more of a mentorship that he has in that team towards Joe, trying to progress Joe through. And Joe obviously did outstanding in the first race, getting his first points on the board, something that Russell didn't do with Williams. Unfortunately, Williams was a awful car when he joined, but he's obviously trying to prove himself now. But yeah, that Alpha's very quick, especially seeing the return of K-Mag in Bahrain as well.
It's just funny because you saw everyone conspiracizing who was going to be the new driver. I don't think I saw anyone bat an eyelid towards Kevin. No. It was always like Fittipaldi or even Callum Ilott, and then boom, Kevin comes back and everyone's like losing their mind. Everyone's like, no way.
And he's like, I thought you thought you saw the last of me.
Yeah. maybe he wanted to be on an Audi catalogue.
Oh, on that Drive to Survive, that was so funny when they just didn't make any sense at all. So why are we doing this?
It's brilliant.
Oh. But yeah, all in all, the Bahrain GP definitely gave us an insight into what this season is going to unfold with Ferrari and Red Bull, possibly Merc if they sort their stuff out, and then Haas and Alpha being very good midfield teams. Very good midfield teams. Right, anyway, on to the main section of the podcast where we're going to be talking about the Saudi GP. And first of all, I think we should get into, should the race really have gone ahead, despite what had happened in practice?
I'm still dead set on no. We saw it in F2 before they even held the F1 race, and Fittipaldi, the other one, he had that really bad crash. The last time they were out there, you're kind of judging, was it just kind of a quick fix for money, and should they have put better precautions in place for the drivers? Like, and considering politically what was going on as well, doesn't make sense. I was dead set no. As soon as they had put about the factory on fire, I was like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I mean,
it's just mad. Like, I seen like somewhere, I can't remember because I was reading so much about it. Like, the excuse was that they weren't targeting individual people. They were targeting like a building or something like that. And I was like, but what are you all in right now? Like, I just myself, I'd be absolutely like crap myself. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it, and it's unfair for the racers to have to still push through it.
Yeah, exactly right. Especially the Oyo depot that got hit was one of the main sponsorships for the track. So you see the Aramco barriers all around the track. There's such a big sponsorship for that thing, for that race. It came into the point of, were they really doing it in the sense of they're trying to promote an agenda where the country's safe. We're trying to allow the sporting event to happen to make sure that there's not this fear or outcry by the public, or we're trying to ensure that everything's okay. It's just there's a missile that's been hit. We've got whatever political issues going on in that area in the world right now. But to have the drivers being sat in a 4.5 hour meeting and then away from that, most of the drivers not even still wanting to race has a big well, not a big impact, but a big coercion into all the drivers agreeing, especially with the income of then the team principals trying to persuade them, and then obviously the bosses being like, well, sorry guys, at the end of the day we're going to put you under pressure into wanting this to go ahead. I just in turn just thinks at the end of the day you're not really doing this for the safety of everyone around the track, you're just doing this for money. And that kind of red flags for me straight away. Red flags. I was like, nah, this can't be right.
Kind of like, sorry, we've took the money, so you're just gonna have to power through it. But so like that race could have been so much worse. Like for anyone going into a race with that mindset of, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Is like someone gonna try to like attack us like whilst we're trying to race. Never mind having to be in the right mindset anyway to get yourself in a car, because I wouldn't go anywhere near an F1 car, because you have to be mad, don't you, to even attempt to. But to have all those outside factors in your mind as well, that race could have been so much worse, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. It's the fact that without drivers, you've not got a race. And as soon as the whole like Russia thing happened and drivers were saying, yeah, it's not right to go there, and if we do, we won't race. And then they took the right step to be like, okay, Sochi is not the one. We have to take it off the calendar. That makes sense. And now you're in a country where devastation has happened, and you're kind of thinking, this is right now where you are. It's not right to be putting drivers in that predicament. And like Honor said, you've got to be in such a strong mindset to drive, and one little thing that kind of ticks through your head that isn't in your usual focus can just throw you off the race completely.
I mean, these guys are doing what, 2K, 200K plus? Like, it's just even with the fact that it wasn't a terrorist attack as such, it was a planned missile strike. Just like, going into that race, they must have had something on the back of their mind being like, well, could this even happen during the race, or could this happen during qualifying, or could this happen during practice?
Exactly.
And despite it was like, what, 10 kilometers out from the track, like all the journalists could not smell like burning, but could smell like...
Max went on the radio and he thought it was his tyres going, the rubber, but it wasn't. It's obviously the burning from the factory. And you're just thinking, how would you still let that go ahead if you can even smell the fact that something's wrong? Like, I just think it's always been a dangerous track since the incident last year with F2. And then there was another crash this year with F2. You're kind of thinking, was it built too quickly, and should they have actually taken more time? Because even halfway through the calendar year last year, it wasn't ready.
No, exactly.
And it seemed to then been ready really quickly, almost too quickly, to have all the right precautions in place.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll go on to quali now. Exactly what we'll segue into that real quick and saying like the track. I feel like most of the fans and most of the F1 paddock, that we would say that they enjoy the track for what it is, but once again, it may have been rushed, and we saw that accident with Mick in qualifying, which kind of horrified us all in seeing a car slide across the track, split in half again.
That was, like, you heard it as well.
Yeah.
Like, the noise was piercing. I didn't appreciate the commentary on that, because I can't pick out who it was, but someone was like, oh, he sat in the car rather motionless, and you kind of like, is that helping the situation? Not particularly. It was quite unnerving to see, like, you're kind of sat there and there's like a pit in your stomach, you're like, okay, we want him moving or something, like we want him out. And it just felt like such a long time before they were able to get him out the car.
I think it was, maybe it's just me, but my thinking when he said that, I think everyone's automatic mindset is to go to like, I don't know, his dad and like think, oh my god, he's not moving, like, oh my, you automatically elevate it in your head to something mad. And I was like, oh no, oh, even me mum was like, I'll be thinking about that all day, and I was like, you didn't even watch it. Like you don't watch like racing shit. Yeah, but it's Michael Schumacher's son. And I was like, okay, like don't like overdo it. We've not heard nothing yet. Just like
Exactly.
calm down.
I mean, the best thing about that was Mick is okay and
Yeah.
he's uninjured or anything like that. I mean, in terms of the way things are projected on times of live viewing, I can imagine it's very difficult for directors and everybody back behind the scenes to be like, okay, we've had a horrific accident right now. This is like with Grosjean, right? When Grosjean went into the barrier at Bahrain, everybody across the world knew instantly, holy crap, this is bad. This is very, very bad.
Yeah.
And obviously, you want to make sure that he's all right, but you can't have cameras pointing and you can't have this, that, and the other. What we got to saw after the crash and everything afterwards, even the onboards and everything like that, Mick was still moving. He was absolutely fine. It was just the way that the car went into the barrier and the impact. Immediately, everybody's minds are just like, damn, that's a bad crash. We do not want to be seeing this. And obviously the progression through that.
They didn't even show the replays, did they?
Nah.
Until like he was
Way
out of the
after,
car. Yeah, which was good.
But in terms of the track itself, I think it even needs to somehow implement a lot more Armco barriers in terms of crash protection in certain areas of the track, not just having concrete barriers everywhere.
Yeah.
The way I think Azerbaijan does it well is they have in main areas of that track, they will have Armco barriers instead of like concrete barriers, especially coming around that corner in Saudi that has no Armco barriers along that side. And you think, well, if that car spins out, loses its rear, it's going straight on into that concrete barrier, and that could go head first. That can go,
It's like when Latifi spun out during the race, and he was very close to hitting a marshal. Like how that marshal kind of like, the marshal Sean Corner thought should probably run. Like having that reaction time when he's going so fast into the wall, you kind of think, what?
Right. So we'll get onto quali anyway. So Q1, biggest shock of Q1. Woo! Oh, as a Merc fan, I don't want to talk about this.
Come on, grab Harry a tissue.
Okay, so the biggest shock qualifying Q1, Lewis going out to a Aston Martin as well, which Stroll couldn't lead. But where we were seeing in Bahrain saying that everybody was unsure of the Merc being bad, we got to see it now in Saudi, especially with one lap pace. It is so off the pace whether Lewis himself doesn't have the car in his own setup area. It seems like George has. George luckily had that. But where Lewis has what's going on with his car, I don't think. Something's not right that side of the garage. Something is definitely not right.
Yeah. It just seems so odd for the Merc to be so low. And obviously, apart from like obvious adjustments to height, weight, whatever, they are essentially running pretty similar cars between Russell and Hamilton. So for there to be that much difference in the pace, what do you then put it down to? Do you put it down to the driver, or are there actually that many differences within the car itself that are affecting pace and performance?
Yeah. I still can't believe it now. I'm still like, what? Even like when they showed the side by side like laps, he compared to two Mercedes cars, it was like Hamilton. He just knew. He's been doing it for so long, hasn't he? He just knew.
Yeah.
There's no point in even trying to gamble because this track's dangerous in itself. Like that's what I felt like when I was watching it. He wasn't like trying to take certain corners too tightly or whatever to try and gain that extra advantage. He just knew no point to try and like better luck next time. Like that's why I saw it anyway.
Yeah, I think the main thing that Lewis has in the moment is he's not confident in that car.
Yeah.
George, I think he's trying to prove something at the minute with obviously trying to show his place within the team, and obviously the team have said there's no first driver, there's no second driver. It's just they're letting them at the moment race, even though they're not really racing each other. Lewis at that moment is not in any way, shape, or form in that car or with that car. That's a big for a 7-time world champion as well, to not be confident in that car. You can see it's messing with his head. It's not really going down very well. But yeah.
I don't think anyone was expecting that coming out of last year. But then again, with all the regulation changes and new procedures, anything anyone was expecting, I think, kind of went out the window. Even from like livery and car reveals, because the cars, everyone's got such a different take, especially on the bodywork, like the whole side pod gate, or therefore lack of.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think anyone's expectations just went.
I think the best reaction to it was the crowd and that girl just being like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. She was like, what? She was too stunned to speak.
Brilliant.
Not gonna lie, I was sat there like, please just get 15th. Just please, just get through to Q2. Please.
I just kind of sat there and I was like, this is oddly like anticlimactic. Like, it just felt really weird. I was sort of like, am I watching the right program? Like, is it opposite day? Like, have we reversed the grid or something? Like, it was just so strange to see after like so many years of just Merc being so dominant. It was like, it was kind of unsettling. You're kind of like, ooh. Bit of a sticky one still, but
sticky one still.
they we're still very early into the season.
Yeah. Yuki, obviously, I want to quickly touch on the AlphaTauri. Yuki not even making it into qualifying, and then obviously subsequently in the race cutting out as well.
Yeah.
So Yuki Tsunoda had a pretty bad weekend all in all.
Yeah.
Didn't really, I don't know what is happening in that AlphaTauri garage with his side, but it's not going well.
Even Pierre's, to be fair, because he caught on fire.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I don't know how I forgot about that, but I did.
Like, it doesn't matter how much gaffer tape you stick on that AlphaTauri, something. The heat's been a big issue with a lot of the cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Q1. Williams not showing up to the table. It seems the big talking point throughout both weekends at the moment is the Merc engine not being where everybody thought it would be at, especially with McLaren as well. McLaren are struggling.
Very true.
They did manage to get through Q1. So yeah, anyway, on to Q2. Q2, obviously, McLaren. They didn't do too bad. I think they're 11th. Were they 11th and 12th overall in Q2?
Yeah.
It's like the start of last season. They had a really rough start, and it just seems to be happening again. I expected it with Daniel, though, seeing as he missed out it was like pretty much all of testing, and then to have to go into a weekend where you've hardly had enough time to get with the car as everyone else did on the track. Like, I kind of expected there to be some issues there.
Yeah. Especially as well, like with last year, we saw McLaren's. Obviously, we won't touch on the fucking on the 2016, 2017, 2018 them days. But then obviously McLaren were on a rise, and then obviously we saw last season they were on a pretty big trajectory to becoming big, and now we're starting to see,
like, after Monza, it just seemed to kind of go up and up.
Yeah.
And then now they're kind of back where they started, like in 2021.
Yeah. But yeah, so once again,
it's very strange. It feels like history's repeating itself with some of the teams.
Yeah.
First off, the silver livery maybe for Mercedes.
Would you bring the black back, please?
I preferred the black livery. I'm sorry, but
I loved the black livery. Absolutely,
it just seemed a lot nicer, and it doesn't feel like aesthetically wise. The black suits with the silver livery does not make sense.
Yes.
But then the white suits look bad because they look like you peed yourself every time you come out the car. Like, it's just.
Okay, quick interjection. What do you think is the most sexual looking car on that grid. the loveliest.
I mean, the Ferrari would be kind of thick. she's packing.
That Ferrari be packing. She thick though.
Yeah. I would have said the McLaren because I'm biased, but the Google Chrome wheels are not for me.
Yeah. It did look nice until we put the Google Chrome wheels on. Like,
I thought that was like just gonna be a one-off, and then I saw it for a second week running, and I was like, "It's a no from me."
Yeah. I was like, "What have you done?
No.
Why?"
It just doesn't. Like, I get it, but I also don't. They seem to be picking up sponsors like no man's business at the minute. Like every single week, they seem to be announcing like 2 sponsors.
Isn't McLaren got Lando's quadrant? Is it?
I think they do have quadrant as well. Yeah, which would make sense. But they've got quad pay, but then he's got quadrant on the helmet.
See, I don't know. The Aston Martin, oof, that thing does bits to me.
The green hit's different on the Aston Martin.
So good.
When they released that car, honestly, I was like, if the car's gonna look like this, I'm happy. I'm happy. Like, oh, even the vents, like it's rather intriguing to see how they've. I don't know whether that affects aero or not, but the vents on the cars, especially with Ferrari having their deep side pods, the venting on the car, whether that actually is helping the aerodynamics. I don't know whether them vents are angled a little bit differently, or they're all just there just for the radiators to be expelled out. I need to probably look into that a little bit more. But yeah, when that Aston Martin got released, whoa, that was my top one. Even the Merc takes a close second, but the Aston Martin by far looks incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, Lawrence Stroll does look like Father Christmas, so
Yeah.
we're expecting something good from him.
Daddy's money. What about you, Anna?
They're building a new factory.
Yeah.
A new Aston Martin factory.
Aston Martin, like, I literally couldn't stop staring at it once it released. I was like, no, like a car can't look this good.
I think the big thing as well, the fact that all the cars do look different. Like everybody at the start was like, "Oh, all these cars are going to look the exact same. There's going to be no difference."
Yeah, because last year they really did. Whereas this year you've got like side pod, no side pod, like the wings, even like the front noses and everything.
Yeah.
And even per driver as well, you can see it differ. It's not even per team. Like Sainz and Leclerc have got completely different front wings.
It's nice to see, I think, though. Like, instead of them all like imitating them each other, it's like nice to see the little differences.
Agreed.
Yeah.
To see what effect it can have on the races.
Agreed.
It'd be nice to see the actual Alpine livery next weekend. Because obviously they've been running the pink one for the first 2.
Yeah.
It's like Alpine and British water technology. British water technology, is it? They've been fighting over the livery.
Yeah, it's just I don't like the pink. I just can't wrap my head around it. It
reminds me too much of the old car, like the old Aston Martin. Oh, what is it? No, Force India. Was it Force India?
Racing Point.
Racing Point. That's it. I always keep thinking Force India. I don't know. I keep thinking Force India.
I was like, if they made a comeback, have I missed something? Like,
yeah, because everyone was like joking about it and like had made like a leaked livery, but then it actually was. We were like, oh, everyone's livery's got leaked this year. That was weird.
Yeah. Ferrari. Oh yeah, fuck. Ferrari, when they got released, they released a like a segment of it, and everybody kept trying to Photoshop it to turn the brightness up so they could see the car. They did the exact same thing with Merck's car, and then like obviously the people behind the launches were like, "Oh yeah," and leaving little messages like, "Ah, nice photoshopping skills," blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But then literally, it must have been 12 hours before the Ferrari was to be unveiled. It got leaked, and everybody was like, "Well, this is boring now."
It happened with, I think, every single car pretty much. It's just, you're thinking, what? Who's behind this?
Yeah.
We've got a serial livery unveiler here.
Right, what else? Q2. Oh, yeah, so Q2, Mick being 14th and K-Mag getting into Q3. So now we're going to go on to Q3. So, how do we feel about Sergio Perez making an absolute outstanding final lap in that Q3?
He's just so cute, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like,
So
I think, like, if we take it back to 2 years when he had that race where he had the incident right at the start and then went on to win it, I think everyone forget that happened and they still really underestimate him. Like, this man's been in F1 for 11 years, went from last to first in a race, like, and then he whips out a banger and everyone's kind of like taken aback, and I think they forget actually how talented he really is. And he could fend off drivers really well.
Yeah, I think it's mainly because he's willing to be the outside guy. He's so nice that he's willing to be the background guy. So you never think he'll push himself to do something like that. You think, like, when he gets a chance to, obviously he tries to, because that's why he's there to win, obviously. But most of the time, he's willing to sacrifice himself. So I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I was glad.
This on this, like, and I was like, huh? Checo, what?
I was glad Red
So
Bull offered him a
happy.
seat. I think it was
So
like the
happy.
chance he finally needed.
Yeah.
And like he protects like Max so well, but even obviously he's covering his own ass because he doesn't want to lose a place. But like, you know, Minister of Mexico Defense, like he knows what he's doing.
I think as well the fact that we've been focusing on the Leclerc Verstappen battle, and we're probably going to see that the majority of the season. It was nice to see Checo actually produce because the lap he did was incredible. Like, you go back to even watching it through, you go back to Lewis's 2018 Singapore, you go back to Max's unfortunate demise at the Saudi last year. Like, you think it's borderline one of them laps where you think, Christ, this is really on the edge. You watch the whole thing back, it's on the edge. You wouldn't even think it'd come out.
Like, you kind of hold your breath a bit as he's going around each corner because you feel like he's just got to donk a wheel in or something. You just kind of like...
It was incredible.
Right, they widened that last turn just for Max.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that before. It's how they winded it for me.
Yeah. And then they asked Lewis, and Lewis goes, actually, I don't think they need to change anything about the track.
Esteban getting P5. That's obviously a nice, refreshing thing to see for Alpine. And also Alonso getting P7, George P6. Bottas also in there, Pierre in there as well, and then obviously K-Mag P10. So yeah, all in all, the qualifying as such, we saw obviously the Red Bull, Ferrari, Max obviously not getting where he believed he would be able to place that car. If Max did a decent enough lap, he'd think it'd be a 1-2 Red Bull. But once again, them things kind of not transpiring the way Red Bull want.
Very sure.
But yeah. Right, segueing on to the race. There's a lot to talk about in the race. Oh, so. Okay.
Is that a point for P10, Harry?
Oh, don't.
It's just funny, like, because everyone on Twitter afterwards, like, is it ignorance or like, is he being serious?
I think the main thing as well with the whole, like, okay, yeah, we seem to be talking. We got 2 Merc fans in the building, if anybody didn't know. But I think the gutting thing from that is there were 6 retirements and Lewis only got P10, and like everybody's been like, oh yeah, Lewis has got a point, like. All the Merc fans be like, yeah, but he's still got the point. I'm like, no, you don't realise that so many cars retired during that race.
He didn't have to pick off half the like lower to midfield.
Exactly, especially even like big point, Latifi crashing out once again. Yeah, he probably just wanted to rectify himself for Abu Dhabi, but yeah, once again just crashes into the barrier and causes a race change.
Yeah.
Poor Perez goes straight down to 4th. Amazing after the pit stops. But even still, even if, like, I think we're overshadowing the whole Merc situation in terms of where Merc fans are sometimes a little bit clouded with their belief of being like, oh yeah, the best car. If 6 retirements happened, and even with that pit stop, Lewis would have been like P17, P16. So, yeah, during the race, once again, George doing an absolute blinder. Not going to take that away from him. He's literally racing in his own world.
Yeah, he just kind of kept himself to himself and kind of got the job done, and he did well.
But yeah, once again, Lewis, going back on the things we touched about earlier, Lewis is not happy in that car. Not happy in the slightest.
It'd be different if it was a rookie, because you're kind of like, okay, they're still learning. But no, he's a 7-time world champ.
Right.
Yeah.
So for the fact for him to not be comfortable in that car and not be able to get the performance that we know he's capable of, isn't like, that's not a good sign at all.
No. Speaking of, by the way, that pit stop, what on earth were Mercedes like doing? I don't understand. Were they sleeping or something? Like,
Maybe.
you've got to get those things in early and let them know early. I know, like, me and my conspiracy theory head for a second when, like, Alonso, like, made sure the pit lane got closed. I was like, he's done that on purpose. He hates him. He's done that on purpose. And I was like, no, but I can't be logical. I was like, but I can't. He's done it on purpose.
I think
no, shocking.
Yeah.
They need to work on the They need to work on everything, to be honest with you.
I think as well.
And there was a confusion when the safety car happened. There was a confusion about whether Zhou should be serving his penalty or not.
Yes.
So he didn't actually serve it, and then he had to go back in to do his stop and go.
Yes, exactly right. I think they dropped the card, like malfunction or something like that, and they dropped the card, but it didn't actually count as him serving his penalty.
Yeah.
So then he got a drive-through penalty. Drive-through penalty afterwards? I think it was.
I think it was a drive-through. Yeah, because I think he didn't need to pit under the time.
Especially when we saw, like, okay, so the start of the race was pretty boring. Not gonna lie. I was watching it like, that's going to be a pretty boring race, and obviously lap 37, I think it was a TV crash, and everybody's like, right, okay, let's
like,
get this going.
Interest is back. Get the beams on the go, like. And I see you had, what was it, 3 cars losing power, which is really strange. Like it just felt really like suspicious. Because they were all different engines as well.
Yeah. So,
you couldn't even pin it to, oh, it's a Mercedes. Like you had a Red Bull, a Mercedes, and then like it's just very strange to see.
Yeah, especially with like when we first saw Alonso slowing down, it was like, oh, this is not good. And then we saw Ricciardo slowing down, and then we saw Bottas slowing down, and it was a bit like, well, these are way too close to be. I think there's going to be a big point come over this season with reliability, where the cars are so slim around the engines now. There's going to be a big thing with reliability over the course of the season. Whether we haven't seen Merc themselves have a reliability issue, but whether it be the sense of the Merc other works cars, not obviously the works team, but the other Merc team being, I don't know whether it's around, because we had the fuel pump issue in Bahrain, wasn't it, with the Red Bull? And that's a FIA part that contributed to that retirement. So whether these parts are failing on cars or there's other things behind the scenes that we don't know about, it's a bit worrying in terms of the start of the season. We've had 2 races and we must have had, 6 cars? 7, 8, so 9 cars now go out due to retirement.
Well, we saw reliability issues last year with Pirelli at Azerbaijan when Stroll's tyre went. Was it back left hard? And then Max's went. He was going down the straight and it just went. And you're kind of thinking, okay, that's weird. Both the same tyre compound, both the same tyre, and both had no forewarning that it was going to blow. And we know the hards are durable tyres. So, like, it's not new for there to be reliability issues, but for there to be this many in one race.
Yeah.
And with so many changes, it's going to be so hard to pin it initially on one thing, and it's something that's going to have to be investigated.
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously, Max getting his first win of the season. All I can say about them last laps battles, I don't know about you guys, but I was on the edge
He
of
fought
my
hard
seat.
for that.
edge of my
Every
seat the
single
whole
time he
time.
lunged forward, I was like,
Oof. It's
and he
just
just wasn't getting it, or he would, and then they'd swap back, and then he realised after a few attempts, like, I'm gonna have to change my strat here, and I need to be coming out this first corner second in order to come out the next corner first.
Well, he
That
was
was
like
just-
so close to like losing his mind, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And his teammates going,
You could see he was
Max,
pushing
you
the
might want
tyres.
to just chill a bit. Just wait for your opportunity. Like, just please wait. Please
Yeah.
wait. Don't lose your mind just yet.
He was pushing those tyres right into the ground, and I think if he had too many more chances that he didn't like need to take on the lap, he could have done his tyres in really badly and could have lost that race because he doesn't know how to do tyre management.
That's why he came at the perfect time. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like he wouldn't have won it if the team hadn't have told him to like chill out
for a
first.
bit. Yeah, because either would have done his tyres in or he would have overheated.
Which maybe shows that he's changing a little bit. Because
Maybe, yeah.
because like previously he would have just ignored them, went no, like
Yeah.
I'll do what I want.
I think team radios over the last kind of year have been interesting because you see the difference in the amount of information different teams are getting. Like we saw it in Sochi, like the drivers can only see so much of their tyres. So for Lando to be like, I don't want wet tyres, when really did McLaren know that was the right choice and they should have told him to just box because they're the ones who can actually see all the data from the tyres. Like, he can see it's raining, but he doesn't like know anything more, whereas the garage have got a whole weather forecast. And you can see the difference in it because that's why the Mercs pitted and got different tyres.
I think that came with experience as well. Where Norris was in the lead and him not being experienced enough as Lewis in races, it came down to the fact that Norris knew he wanted to win this race. He only had a few laps left, so he took it upon himself, seeing the track as what it was, that essentially it played in favour for him if he'd just stayed out because he'd lost track position to Lewis. But in actual fact, Merc knew instantly this is going to get heavier. I'm just going to keep telling Lewis, we're going to keep telling Lewis, look, pit. It's his decision if he wants to come in or not. But Lewis made that decision, right, okay, I trust my team. I'm coming in. And it paid off. If Norris had done the same thing, he'd have obviously been very close with them, I believe. I think Norris probably would have won. But
like the fact that they've never been in that such predicament, like the weather, as soon as you see those grey clouds rolling in, you know you're in for a completely different race. It doesn't matter how practice went or how qualifying went. As soon as the rain starts falling, it goes so much more to the driver and the driver's ability. But then do we argue that some races, like you should stop a race if you feel like it gets too dangerous? Because we saw it in Spa, and Vettel said, like, we shouldn't have sent this out yet because it's piss pouring and it's not safe.
Yeah, we can touch on that with like Saudi as well and trying to intertwine that, like saying like we shouldn't race at the circuit. I think in terms of how that Spa race went, I think it's more disgusting how the fans were treated. How the fans were treated afterwards, in the fact that they've paid. I've been to a Formula One event in Silverstone. I went to Silverstone in 2021, sorry. And the amount of money you pay as a fan to go watch one of these races is astronomical.
It's a very expensive sport, and that's the worst thing. Watching it as well, like we just segue a little bit. You have a 7-time British world champion, and I feel like it shouldn't just be the British Grand Prix that's available to everyone. I do feel like it needs to be made more accessible to fans. Because the money you pay just to watch it on the TV is extortionate, and not everyone can even access Sky to start with. So I feel like if you want to actually grow the fan base, you can afford to make going to the events cheaper because then there'll be more of the fans to buy it. You need to make it more accessible from the off-go.
I think.
Should we segue that into the Las Vegas thing then? Might as well.
Yes. All right. Okay. Right. Okay. So we're going to completely segue differently. We've just had an announcement as well from recently from Formula One that we're going to have a Las Vegas race as well as Miami and as well as fucking Austin. Oh god, so we're going to have 3
Have you seen the
US
prices though with the Miami seats?
That's right. That's why I thought let's talk.
I saw it on TikTok. Apparently, some of the Miami seats starting price is like $2,000.
What?
Yeah.
£2,000? I have not seen
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I'll have to send you it, but
Oh, Christ.
It was always going to happen as soon as it's becoming more Hollywood. Therefore, prices these prices will skyrocket now because you'll have all I know F1 always has had celebs, but usually they don't know nothing about the sport. They just come as a little promo for I don't know
yeah.
their movie
We
or
had
something
Gordon
like that.
Ramsay there last week.
Yeah. Whereas now it'll be the celebs filling the stands. They'll probably be getting tickets, to be fair, and it'll be the normal people who have to fork out money,
yeah.
the $2,000 and stuff like that, in order to even get a sniff of any F1 car.
Yeah, it's a difficult sport to make accessible money-wise, but there's also you just kind of think to yourself, there are little changes that could be made that you think would just make it just that little bit more accessible for more people to be able to enjoy it. Just being able to watch it live for a start, just let the people have it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you guys. Right. Okay. So touching on this whole accessibility thing and prices and whatnot, where I've been a Formula One fan since when was my first season of watching? I think it was 2003. And watching Michael Schumacher and all that, we had a massive influence in terms of Formula One and the sport in our own country in the UK. It was massive. Yeah. Recently, ever since Lewis, the 2014 era, that Vettel era, Lewis era, the sport did die off. It very much so, because we saw domination of Vettel, 4-time world champion, and we saw Lewis. It's unfortunately kind of died off. As soon as we had Drive to Survive introduced and we had the new owners being American, as soon as we had that, the influx from American fans into Formula One has allowed a massive growth, and especially with the Abu Dhabi GP last year, the finale that we had. Yes, as fans, we're disgusted at the way it happened, but the influx we've had, and the thing I love the most so far is the now interest in the sport that we have going into this new season. I haven't seen before. There's new people that, like my friends and stuff like that are not interested in the slightest in Formula One. Be like, oh yeah, how'd the race go? And how's this? Being actually now somewhat interested in loading up, watching into the sport. Yes, okay, it's on Sky Sports where you have to pay a subscription. And yes, I do believe that there should be more races on Channel 4, for example, that they do with the British Grand Prix. But it's nice to see a now fresh fan base, I would say, where there's a lot more newcomers into the sport, which obviously is just going to promote our sport a little bit more. But yeah, agreed with the whole having Las Vegas and having Miami on the calendar now. It's obviously we're going towards more of a, I hate to say it, but more of an IndyCar type of thing where we're trying to make it more and more based around American ideologies. But that's only because
it's not that we hate you, America.
yeah, we don't hate you.
Even thinking about it, I'm like, I even feel sorry for, let's say, the American sports is both old and new, because even now them 3 races but will they even be able to afford it?
Yeah.
The people who've been waiting for more races to come to America, will they be even able to afford it by the time it gets there? That's the question, because I feel like the prices are just going to keep going up and up, and that's sad.
I mean, the fact as well, we don't have a German GP, and all the fans from Germany, we took away Hockenheim, and for the German fans, they pack out that Grand Prix. That'd be absolutely packed out. But yeah, we don't even race in Germany anymore. But
more and more, that's another thing. More and more European, countries they can't afford to bid.
Exactly right.
So they just don't bother anymore. So it's exciting, but it's also sad at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fan
Agreed.
base is so like
It will look
wide.
good seeing Las Vegas strip lit up like in the race. It
Night
will
race
look
as
good.
well. Like that was never going to be a day
Day
race.
race.
I just feel like every single secret over the last year of F1 has just been the worst kept secret ever.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not going to Vegas. Never. Like, I don't know what's going on, but
Oh,
I think
what?
F1 now, since Drive to Survive came out, has now got such a diverse age range.
Mhm.
Like, my dad still watches it. He's like 50, but you've got people who are 80 still watching it.
Mhm.
And then you've probably got kids I'd maybe say as young as like 5 watching it. And it's just changed so much.
Mm.
And I think, especially in the older part of the fan base, they're starting to learn kind of acceptance because you can see it, like the kind of gatekeeping, like, oh, you only watched it for Drive to Survive, and you're kind of like, we're interested in the sport, like we have something in common. What's the need to like create negativity just because I got into watching it a different way
Yep.
to you? Like I've seen it myself. Like I've posted a TikTok about F1, and you see people in the comments like, only watched it from Drive to Survive. I'm like, bold presumption for you to make. Not true, but it's just so
Yeah, I know
strange.
what you
Like
mean.
why diminish someone else's like experience with watching F1 when everyone could just watch it however they want and get into it however you want? You should be happy that there's more people enjoying the sport.
Yeah. I think yeah, especially just touching on that for a second. The main thing that I get like for example, whenever we're posting on Twitter or from our account or anything like that, or anybody on Twitter, for example, you will always see like Max fans going at it with Lewis fans, or you'll see like
Yeah.
the neutrals just being like, yeah, but I'm only enjoying the race. Like, it doesn't matter, dude. I
Yeah.
couldn't care. Or you'll get like a die-hard Ferrari fan being like, yeah, I'm just happy that my team are back. Like, there's
Yeah.
all this different scope. But I love the F1 community, and sometimes it kind of diminishes where we're at. At the end of the day, we love our sport. We're passionate about
Yeah.
our sport. And even the reason why we're doing this podcast is we like talking about our sport in the sense that where we now feel, especially what with Lewis has done, and I feel like the sport is a lot more divergent, is a lot more inclusive into
Yeah.
ethnic
There's a lot more
minorities, and
campaigning.
where we've never had that before. It's been a predominantly white person, gentleman sport, rich ass,
Yeah.
and that, quite frankly, hasn't actually allowed everybody else in the sport to kind of be like, well, am I included in this? That's where I think
Yeah.
where we've progressed
Like,
a
is
lot
the
more.
representation
Yeah,
there
exactly
for
right.
us? Like it's
It
but
doesn't.
like
Yeah,
it's like you said, going back to Twitter, like you see all these different fans arguing, but I saw it when I worked at Silverstone. It might have even been Saudi. We had Saudi playing. It didn't matter if there was a Max fan or a Lewis fan. That sport genuinely brought people together.
yeah,
Like, it doesn't matter what goes on social media or what happens in the race. Like, the sport as a whole does unify people.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, it's people who love racing and love the adrenaline of it.
yeah. As soon as Crofty sits down and goes, lights out, and away we
Yeah.
go, everybody
We're
is
just
sat
like,
there like,
yeah,
yes, come on.
yeah. We're just like, another weekend, like, let's get it. Like,
Oh, any more to say on that? Don't think so. All right, we'll cut this bit, but can you think of anything else to say, guys? I want to talk about
what?
just while we're segueing onto random ass stuff.
It's fine, because whatever doesn't make it, we can have, like, clips.
Yeah. What do we talk about? Oh yeah, so we talk about the American stuff.
Did you want to do the meme of the week or whatever?
I don't mind.
Or should we do that next week or something?
We'll do it. Yeah, we'll do that next week.
But we could, I don't know.
Is there anything more to talk about the race?
No, just everyone's comments afterwards, like races in like. I think you want to talk about Russell's emotional speech.
Oh yeah, Russell's emotional speech after saying, "Oh yeah, well, he's just saying that." Oh yeah, okay, right, okay.
It's up to you though.
Right, we'll go segue back into the race, and I'll start off with. Right, yeah. So back into the race. Just going to be talking about at the end of Saudi. Russell had a little bit of emotional speech about the car and saying that he's not entirely confident himself, but he's also not entirely confident that he believes that Merc are going to be up in the pecking order quite where Red Bull or Ferrari are very soon. They said they were going to bring out upgrades for the Australian Grand Prix, but I quite frankly do not believe it. I don't believe that they're going to get on top of it. That's going to be, yeah. He was quite upset during the interview post race, sorry, and yeah, it's not. I don't think it's looking good for Merc, to be honest, this season.
Yeah.
At
Technically speaking, they only had a solid week to work on the car, because then obviously it all has to be transported and going over. And it doesn't matter how much time you run in the simulator. What happens is when you're there in that car, because they're just two completely different things.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like he still has a bit of faith in the Merc garage.
Yeah.
Like, they've been so consistent for so long. Like, it was kind of guaranteed with a complete regulation shake-up that things were going to change and there's going to be new challenges that they might not have necessarily faced over the last few years in that dominant era.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end, it's just, I hate talking about it because I just hate it. But, you know, as someone that, loves Merc and has heavily been involved with their promotion through whatever they've done, it's nice to see the fact that Merc fans are experiencing loss, because we've been on such a high for so many years, and in a weird way, like, it just allows us to kind of reset. Especially I can see it with Toto. Whenever Toto talks about everything, he's like, yeah, just we're the third. I think we're the third best. Like, we're trying to progress through. It gives us some sort of different altercation to way we see, like, I see my team and being like, well, yeah, eventually, hopefully they work it out, but it gives you somewhat more of a drive to be like, okay, yeah, we've gone through some hardship, let's go up. Especially where Ferrari fans are probably at right now. We experienced 3 years of absolute dire racing, and now you see them on top and they're like, yes, they're over the moon.
Yeah.
So
whereas you had his Russell's big emotional speech, and then you had Lando, who was just like, we're crap.
Yeah.
You just are. Like,
I love Lando so much.
Man is lost without Charlotte.
So
like,
much.
Charlotte would have given like a hit on the arm, like, what are you doing? Shut up. It's just like, he's like, yeah, pretty boring, Grace, you know.
But the fact that he is honest about it, like, as McLaren fans, I don't know, like, I'm sure you were watching that being like, holy shit, yeah, we're not doing it right now.
I was like, I mean, he's not wrong. Like, at least he's honest about it, and he can take it. He's always been able to take it lightheartedly and turn it into a joke, because, like, you can't, like, in this sport, you can't let a bad weekend, like, carry on into the next week. Like, every race is so different and every environment's so different that last week's not always going to be a repeat of this week.
Especially where he was just shutting them down. Like, yeah, but it can always go up. No, but for us, it can go down.
Yeah. At least he's honest.
It's like, but it wasn't that. No, we're rubbish.
Yeah.
No, just stop.
I mean, man, you've signed with them now to what, 2024?
Yeah. I think now he's looking at that car being like, yeah, why have I done that? But I mean, realistically though, where I know he'd say like, yeah, you could go to Merc, Ferrari, or Red Bull, but them driving pairings at the moment, that's not going to change for a while.
No.
Even Gasly, his contract's up next year. I don't even think Gasly's going to get that Red Bull seat with Checo and Verstappen being there.
They're a very good pairing. Checo and Verstappen very well last year. So
even that for Gasly's probably wondering, well, do I stay another year with AlphaTauri? But I have no possibility of moving to Red Bull. Me personally, you're still in the pinnacle of motorsport, so yeah, I'd definitely be staying there. But
he performs well. He did incredibly well last year.
Oh, he outdrives that car, hands down. Outdrives that car. But
as he had the win as well the other year. Like, we know what he can do with that car.
Yeah.
It's just I think we have to give all the drivers time. Okay, maybe not Kevin. Kevin kind of exceeded himself a bit, but
Yeah.
I think all the drivers need time with the cars to actually get used to them.
Yeah.
Kevin's kind of showing them all up a little bit.
Kevin's like, yeah.
Like made him a trophy like that was like past Lewis Hamilton in a race trophy because he must have been buzzing with that because they're like I've came in here and like I thought I'd just do a job and look at me, I'm flying.
Isn't it? Even that
I don't know what
battle,
has
though,
that
that
packing in
battle was
that car,
crazy.
but they've got a naughty engine packing in that car.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Because it shows, because Mick's able to drive it well, so is Kevin.
Exactly.
Like,
that's what I mean. Like, I'm just picturing Hamilton's face when that battle did occur. He must be like, I'm
fighting a Haas.
Who's
like...
trying to overtake?
Like, these guys were at the back of the grid last year. What's going on here?
It definitely helps having Kevin back because, like with Bottas, he's able to now mentor Mick because he's also had experience with the team before. He's able to give a little bit more insight, but Mick's definitely more comfortable in the car.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Essentially, we're just going to finish it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to us, for all you audio listeners. We'll just touch on the results and everything like that. So, yeah, pretty much Ferrari are first in the Constructors, Merc are second, Red Bull are third. Who else we got? Oh, God, is it Alpha?
I don't remember.
Romeo fourth. Hang on, I'll go over that.
I don't even know. Like, you just kind of expect to go, Merc first, Red Bull second.
Oh my God. Championship table.
I didn't bother looking at it.
I don't even know what we're doing.
Wait, you guys should know this. No, I'm joking.
F1 Fantasy's going to be a struggle this year.
Oh, are you all on F1 Fantasy or no?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Okay, so
I tried naming my teams and I couldn't do it, and I forgot my good names.
Right, let's start again. Right, let's go. So yeah, guys, we're going to be finishing up the pod right here, but we're going to list anyway what the constructors are at this moment in time. So yeah, Ferrari first, Mercedes second, Red Bull third, Alpine fourth, Haas fifth, Alfa Romeo sixth, AlphaTauri seventh, McLaren eighth, Aston Martin ninth, and Williams last. Obviously, you guys probably understand the Drivers' Championship with Leclerc first. Sainz second, Max Verstappen third, George fourth, Hamilton fifth, Ocon sixth, Perez 7th, Magnussen 8th, Bottas 9th, Lando Norris 10th, Valtteri Bottas 9th, Norris 10th, Tsunoda 11th, Gasly 12th, Alonso, then Zhou, then Schumacher, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Albon, Ricciardo, Latifi, and Vettel. So that rounds up essentially all the standings for
Can't wait
the
for
end
Vettel to be back.
Yeah. It'd be good to see Vettel
Missed
back.
him. Yeah.
I think the way we're going to round it off is we're going to do our predictions, our bold predictions for the year.
Oh God!
To finish this, finish this first episode off. We'll start with you, Ono. Who do you think is going to be taking the constructors, and who do you think is going to be taking the drivers this year?
See, I kind of want it to be Ferrari, but I feel like Red Bull will definitely take the constructors. But
No, don't want it to.
But I think I really want Leclerc to win this year because he's just such a good driver, isn't he? And he's so nice.
I just want a Monaco Leclerc win.
His own little world. Yeah. Oh, that.
I think everybody. It doesn't matter who you're supporting. Everyone wants a Monaco Leclerc win.
He's always just in his own little world, smiling or whatever. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Okay. So going Ferrari.
Move on, otherwise I'll change it again.
Ferrari constructors and Leclerc drivers for Ono. We're gonna go to you, Mel. Go on.
I'm adamant. I'm still adamant. Ferrari constructors.
Okay.
But then I think it will be Verstappen.
Ooh.
for drivers. Man's got bite in him still. He always has them, but like you can see from last year, like on the moves he made on the class race, like he's gunning for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Go on, Harry.
I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna go Red Bull constructors. And then I'm gonna go Leclerc drivers. Maybe even Sainz. I feel like Sainz towards the latter end of the season is I want Leclerc to win it just for Jules and Antoine. That'd be so good just to see Leclerc get the championship. But I feel like it's going to be very tight between Leclerc and Sainz at the end of the season, because I feel like that Ferrari's going to come into his element. But I don't think for the majority of the races, like with Merc did last year, they took the constructors away from Red Bull. I feel like Red Bull are just going to have the most points as cars in general throughout the year.
Especially with it, Checo and his fastest
lap.
Yeah. Hands down. Right.
That's never fair. By the way, you think, like say like Mercedes, Lewis has got like the fastest lap. He's won as well. And then Checo goes, one more lap.
Yep.
Let me get that.
Yeah. Fastest lap points. We've also got sprint races in the mix as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the points have changed on it as well.
Exciting. Yeah, they have. There's more points available.
We'll talk
which I think's a bit better.
Makes it a bit more exciting.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it, and we'll be back next week to talk about everything after the Australian Grand Prix, which we're going to be excited for.
Finally,
back to the Australian GP.
It's going to be so exciting when Latifi crashes into him.
Just wipes everybody out. T1. Just Anyway, yeah, guys, thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. All of our links to our Twitters and everything are down below. Go follow the Fastest Lap Pod on our Twitter. And we'll see you guys next week. From me, Ono, and Demel. See you guys later. All the best. And have a good week. Bye, guys.